Throughout human history, every empire swore its currency would last forever. But time and again, that faith vanished, and those pieces of paper with kings and symbols turned into nothing. Money, at its core, is trust that's been printed. It only lives as long as we believe in it. I once met an entrepreneur who lost nearly everything after the 2008 crash. He told me, I thought I'd lost it all, until I realized I still had my reputation, my skills, and the trust of others. Within years, he rebuilt everything, not through cash, but through credibility. The wise don't hoard money. They hoard trust, integrity, and capability. Because when the system collapses, the only currency that truly saves you is the faith others still have in you. Have you noticed? In every crisis, the survivors aren't the richest. They're the most capable. When factories shut down, banks fail, or markets crash, there are still workers building, engineers fixing, and creators creating. I knew a chef who lost his job during the pandemic. With no income, he started cooking on the street for doctors and nurses working night shifts. Months later, that small food cart became a full restaurant. Why? Because skills can't be confiscated. They don't devalue like currency. The world changes, but productivity and creativity remain timeless. And the best part? You can build those skills every day, no permission needed. In every collapse, those who can create real value never stay broke for long. Every major collapse, from the Black Death to the 2008 crash to COVID-19, has proven one thing: wealth never disappears. It simply changes hands, from those who panic to those who prepare. After the plague, people with cash bought land for pennies. After 2008, those with liquidity bought homes while millions lost theirs. During COVID, those who stayed calm and resourceful built empires while others froze in fear. I once asked an old financial mentor how he survived 3 major recessions. He smiled and said, I never wait for the storm to pass. I just learned how to sail in it. For some, crisis is the end. For others, it's the great reset, a moment where power, wealth, and opportunity quietly shift. The real question isn't, when will the crisis end? It's, which side of that shift will you be on? Health isn't a luxury, it's the foundation of everything else. You can lose money, your company, even your reputation, but if you still have energy, you can rebuild. A weak body can't lead a team. A tired mind can't make clear decisions. I once worked with a major investor in New York who owned dozens of businesses. Every morning, no matter what, he ran and meditated. During market chaos, he was calm while others panicked. He told me, I can't control the markets, but I can control my heartbeat. That stayed with me, because health is the original capital. When your body and mind are strong, you can rebuild, create, and lead, even in the middle of chaos. Money may recover slowly, but true vitality can rebuild everything from scratch. I remember 2008 vividly, when Lehman Brothers, one of America's biggest banks, collapsed in days. People said it was impossible, yet it happened, and millions learned the hard way. Nothing and no one is too big to fail. We put blind faith in systems, banks, corporations, even nations, as if they're immortal. But history, from Florence in the 1300s to Silicon Valley in 2023, keeps proving otherwise. When the cash flow stops, size doesn't matter. Agility does. I once met a young entrepreneur who lost his biggest contract when his partner company went bankrupt. He didn't complain. He said, I learned how to swim when the tide went out. That's survival. Flexibility is the only insurance that truly works. You don't need to be the biggest, just fast enough to pivot before the storm hits. People often glorify strength, scale, and growth. But in a crisis, the real winners are those with resilience. The ones who bend without breaking. A resilient business is like water. When it meets rock, it flows around. When it meets a hole, it fills it. When blocked, it finds another path. I once heard a great line. When everything's gone, What's left are people. And in business, that's truer than ever. When banks close and systems fail, those with real relationships never go hungry. A friend of mine owned a restaurant chain before COVID. When lockdowns hit, he lost nearly everything. But instead of giving up, he called his farmers, old customers, and loyal staff. Together, they launched a home delivery model and shared profits. He didn't need a loan because his relationships were his bank. In entrepreneurship, they say network equals net worth. Trust is the ultimate capital, the kind that can't be inflated, frozen, or stolen. Sometimes a single phone call from someone who believes in you can rewrite your entire future. Imagine this. If tomorrow your bank balance suddenly became worthless, would you still have? For many, the answer is nothing. But for a few, it's land, gold, a business, a brand, or a loyal audience. Real assets are the anchors that keep us from drifting when money sinks. In medieval times, it was gold. During the industrial age, it was land and factories. Today, in the digital era, personal brand, original content, and loyal communities are the new gold. I once told a young founder, don't just ask, where's my money? Ask, what real value am I building? Because money can vanish, but true value cannot. And that value, tangible or digital, becomes the anchor that keeps you steady in any financial storm. The truth is, collapse isn't an accident, it's a pattern. Every system has a cycle, rise, peak, and decline. Most people fear it, but visionaries prepare for it. I once met an investor in San Francisco who'd lived through 3 financial bubbles. He told me, I never try to predict the storm. I just make sure my roof is strong. Simple words, but filled with wisdom. When you understand that fragility is built into the system, you stop panicking. You build liquidity, sharpen skills, and nurture relationships. As if the storm were already on the calendar, and when it hits, you don't just survive. You buy what others are forced to sell. Crises don't destroy everyone. They only destroy blind faith and stability. The wise don't fear collapse. They use it, like a blacksmith uses fire to forge stronger steel. Looking back at history, one truth remains. Every empire has fallen, but people always rise again. Money can vanish, markets can crumble, but real value and real people endure. What makes someone unshakable isn't how much they have. It's their ability to see light when everyone else only sees darkness. I've met people who lost everything, yet came back wiser, stronger, more grounded. Because they didn't just survive, they woke up. History doesn't repeat, but it echoes. And the echo says this: true wealth doesn't live in the bank. It lives inside you. So remember, the real winners aren't the ones who keep the most money. They're the ones who keep their true value even when the world around them falls apart.